Everybody streaming live for Sing for Hope. Today is Monday, and we have our recurring very special guest, Alex Muscaro. She's a dramaturg, a cabaret star. It's just very exciting things we have here at Sing for Hope. So please, Alex, take it away. What do you have for us today?
Well, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am very happy to be back. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Alexandra Muscaro. I have been living in New York City for the past 6 years, and I've got so many random things that I do, and nobody can keep track of me, and I can't keep track of myself. But some of the main things that I do here in the city is I'm a dramaturg, and I'm also a performer. And one of my favorite things to do is to do cabaret. And now, what is cabaret? And that's something that I had to ask myself and learn for myself once I moved to this city. Because in a theater performer's mind, there's only shows. Like, you are an actor, you get cast in a musical and you play a character, and that's what you do. But with cabaret, it's an entirely different form of performance where you get to be yourself
Yeah.
and sing songs and tell stories and interact with an audience. Ideally, you all would be right in front of me and I would just be able to pick on each and every one of you. But you get a free pass for that for now because we are still dealing with some COVID pandemic type things. But
Yeah.
that's what's great
Soon enough.
about the
Soon
Sing
enough,
for
you can
Hope
start picking on
platform.
people again.
I know. That's my favorite part. What I love about cabaret is the fact that there is no fourth wall. So it's not like I have to pretend I don't see you. I get to see you, and then I get to have a conversation with you and pick on you a little bit. And I promise it's fun for both of us.
You know what I do love about that though, because in theater and musical theater and all that, you are playing off the audience in a way of by sound because you can't look at them and you can't,
Yeah.
look directly at them, break the fourth wall. So like when you hear a laugh, it informs your next line a little bit differently. But when you're doing a cabaret and you're like directly having that eye contact and you can see the emotion on their face, like it must have like such a big impact on your actual like just your next couple of minutes, like and how you present in the next few minutes, just based off of what you see and engage with. You
It
improvise
a
and
hu-
things like that.
100%. I wrote and performed my own one-woman cabaret called Soprano with a Belt because I am a soprano who can also belt. I performed it out in Atlantic City, and then I was asked to bring it to New York. So I did it in a couple of venues in New York City. And then I was set to reprise the show in March of 2020. And we all know what happened then. So ideally, one day I will be able to get back on the stage and do some cabaret things. But I've been fortunate enough to perform at venues like Don't Tell Mama, The Better End, 54 Below, and a lot of these other prestigious cabaret venues because cabaret in New York City is such an incredible art form. And what I love about what I do with Sing for Hope, especially on my Mondays, is that I get to be both a cabaret artist and the dramaturg. So for those of you who don't know what a dramaturg is, because it's a crazy word, I essentially am a hired nerd. So either I am a part of a team helping to develop a play or a musical, making sure that the scenes make sense and that characters are well developed and kind of helping with the development of the production to be the best version of itself it can be. What I also do is I am the fact checker. I'm the one who goes in and says, okay, this is our time period. This is the history of this time period. What you are, like this reference you're making isn't appropriate to the time. Let's change it to this reference that is appropriate for the time. And just letting the actors also know what's going on during this time to help them get to be in better character and really enter into this world. So,
How do you prepare, like how do you research and like how much research goes into that? Because you need to really know your stuff to like
yeah. So one of my best examples was a few years ago. I was the dramaturgical assistant for a opera, the Magic Flute, with the St. Petersburg Opera Company. And so what I did was I read a whole book on Mozart, and I learned a lot about Freemasonry And I essentially highlighted a bunch of stuff and I typed up a bunch of stuff and I emailed it out to some of the actors and to the director. And I was like, this is stuff that's important. And
That's
so,
so cool. I just have to say, like, that's incredible. You're like an archaeologist, but for literature. Like,
so
amazing.
what I say in my own like dramaturgical firm, it's called Purple Pen Dramaturgy, is I like to say I'm like an archaeologist, but instead of looking for old worlds, I'm helping to create new ones.
Yeah.
And so that ties into the whole I love storytelling. And what I love about this show and with the American Songbook is that all of these songs tell incredible stories about what time was like in America during this period.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the American Songbook, like what is it? Why is it this name? What's going on here? We're talking about all of the music that was made in America between the 1930s to the very end of the 1960s, because that was when we had our whole rock and roll sort of transition. But this niche time between 30s and the end of the 60s is where we're pulling all of these songs from the American standard. And if you couldn't tell, I'm very Italian today, and I keep talking with my hands.
I was just gonna say, I love it. I just posted something on Instagram about that because there's a video of me and I'm like this, and I know who else can't talk without their hands. And I'm really focused in on you right now, and I'm like, I love it. I love the enthusiasm, the animation in the hands.
So what's really great about these songs is that they each tell such a story about what this time is like in history. And these songs are all very unique to this time period. And as we go through the show and as we sing these songs, we're going to be able to talk about them more and really like look into them and say, why is this song this way? Why does this make me feel this way? And about just the celebration behind so many of these songs too, because the 50s were a really interesting time in American history.
Oh yes.
And I feel like that's a really great transition into sort of the first song that I'd love to sing for you all. It was originally titled In Other Words by Bart Howard in 1954, but it was then remastered by Frank Sinatra in the 60s as an homage to the Apollo mission to the moon, when he then changed the song to Fly Me to the Moon.
I love that.
So I think we'll start off with a little bit of Frank.
Woohoo! Always ready for some Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter, Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You're the one I long for, the one I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. With song and let me sing forevermore. You're the one I long for, the one I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. I mean, it makes sense when you listen to that song and you say, oh, in other words, that's a good title for the song.
I love
But
it.
the fact that he wanted to change it to Fly Me to the Moon
Mhm.
and kind of remastered it a little bit
Made it his own.
is
Like,
exactly. And a lot of times we think of these songs and we think, oh, Frank Sinatra's song or Nat King Cole's song. When in reality, most of these songs during this time were never their songs. As we go through these songs, we're going to realize that so many of these artists actually took songs that were written by other people earlier in American history and then remastered and kind of made their own.
yes, I love this quote from A Star is Born. And I might get it wrong, but it's Bradley Cooper saying there's 12 notes in music. And it's just up to the artist how they show the world those 12 notes. And I was just like, that is so deep. Because even when you have a cover song, you can switch it around, move things, the phrasings and the melodies, you can tweak them. And I just think it's so beautiful how every
Yeah,
cover is different. Throughout the years, it could be the same song, but it's just their own special take on it.
exactly. And I feel like today in a way we view that as sort of taboo. We think of artists as less than if they don't create their own content,
That's such a great point.
if they don't create their own songs. But back in this time, if you look up any of these songs, you're going to see Ella Fitzgerald covered it, and then Frank Sinatra covered it. And then you're going to listen to these songs, and you're going to say, wait, they all sound so different. But no one thought of them as lesser artists.
Absolutely. You know what
And
else? I just wanted to bring up one more artist. So I got really into Linda Ronstadt, and she was
oh yeah,
known for basically covering music. Like her entire career was covers, and she won so many Grammys. And she even performed at the Grammys. Her father had these Mexican roots, so she did this whole mariachi album, and she won a Grammy, and she performed at the Grammys. But she made an entire career on covers, and she was so unapologetic, and she made them her own. And
yeah.
I loved her. She's so fierce.
Also, I feel like being an artist means you're a natural collaborator.
Mhm.
And by covering other people's work, it's not you saying, I'm not good enough to do my own, nor is it you saying, they're better than me, so why am I going to try? It's you saying, I can bring myself to this moment right now and to do this song because this song makes me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be that artist, I'm trying to be myself, but to showcase what that artist did because I respect them so much.
I love that.
And I feel like that's a lot of what Frank Sinatra did during his career and what a lot of people did. And this next song is, again, it's a song that Frank Sinatra took and sort of made his own. But I had no idea that in 1946, Joseph Miro wrote this song for the movie musical Three Little Girls in Blue. And then in 1956, this is when Frank Sinatra came and changed the song to the You Make Me Feel So Young that we all know and love today.
Yes.
But I was like, what is that song? I'm assuming that the Three Little Girls in Blue were the ones that originally sang the song.
Oh, maybe.
But without further ado,
Here we go.
I think we should give it a listen. Also, I just want to let you all know, I'm a professional artist. The fact I'm using karaoke tracks off of Spotify destroys me. I want to be so, I just want to be candid about it. But in this age, I can't have a band with me, but know that in the future I will, and you're all going to be invited.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're all here for the karaoke tracks. We can't tell the difference. Nope, nope, nope.
Oh, no, not at all. There's no delay either. What? You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and are just like a couple of thoughts running across a meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung, bells to be rung, wonderful fling to be flung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so young. You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across a meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung, bells to be rung, wonderful fling to be flung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel, yes, you make me feel, you make me feel so young.
I love that song. It brings up so much imagery of like spring and flowers and meadows. It's very peaceful. I love it.
Also, I feel like a lot of the songs during this time all tell such beautiful stories
Yeah.
too. Because also, there really wasn't a difference between like pop music and musical theater. Like, I feel like today, the songs that are being released by pop artists
Very
are
different.
so different from what's being released by musical theater artists. But during this time, there were musicals that were actually being made around certain songs that they knew pop artists could take and make their own and then make money off of those specific songs.
The only artist I could think of today that could have their pop songs be like meld into a musical is maybe Adele. But
Yes.
other than that, I cannot imagine any songs
Oh
I've
my
heard on the radio.
goodness.
And actually maybe some Gaga songs because she's like funky and fun.
Yeah.
And I see them in some musicals. But yes, back then the line was just much closer together. Now it's just way further apart.
Exactly. And so when you listen to these songs and you look at these lyrics, they're telling such beautiful stories that could be in a musical.
Yes. Do you
Yeah.
think that songwriting today is lazy as compared
That's
to...
such a good question.
I feel like it's a little lazy, in my opinion, with, like I just said, the song you sung, it conjured up so much imagery for me. And I just pictured like flower picking and running through a field and flowing hair. And when I hear certain songs on the radio, like an Ariana Grande song, I don't feel those, emotions. I'm just like, oh, bopping along to the tune.
I think what artists feel are important to add into songs is what's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Every like let's be honest, every song today is either about like sex or drugs or like buying expensive things.
Yeah. And there's there's no heightened language.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's why I really gravitate towards bands, because even bands today actually create stories with their songs. Like my roommate is in a band. She writes all of the lyrics to their songs. And that's art, what she and her band does. But it's bands. It's essentially collaboration that creates such incredible work.
Yeah.
And that's something that's also very indicative of this time. You have these massive horn sections. You have these instrumental breaks in every single song. And why do you have an instrumental break in the middle of a song? To showcase your band, to
Yeah.
showcase the fact that they're artists and they're there doing incredible work. And the horn solo and the bass solo are just as important as the singer up front singing the lyrics. Because at the end of the day, you're really not listening to the lyrics. You're listening to them. You're swaying, and you're not swaying because of the lyrics that are being said. You're swaying because you're listening to the music and to the actual swelling that they create.
I love that Bruno Mars has brought that back, like horn section, old school way of performing.
Sonic Silk, or is it Silk Sonic?
I think Silk Sonic.
I don't know. It's like either or. But yes, I completely agree. I mean, listen, if I could have a horn section just like follow me around New York City, I would. I'm obsessed.
Amazing. I'd want to say the song you just sung, it reminded me of Guys and Dolls, If I Were a Bell, and one day I would love to hear you sing that one.
Oh my God. Yes, I could. Because also, there's a golden age of Broadway, right? And so this golden age of Broadway is the exact same time as we're talking about right now, the 30s through the end of the 60s. So a lot of the songs that Broadway were that I don't even know what grammar that was, that the songs that were coming out of Broadway at that time were picked up by a lot of the pop artists and then made their own. And so some of these songs lived on more so than the musicals did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can do. That I can add to my list for sure.
Okay, perfect.
But building off of the fact that the music and the bands were so important during the time, it kind of makes me want to transition into this other song because it was written just as the orchestration. And what a lot of people don't know about Charlie Chaplin is that he was a musician. He actually wrote his theme for his like Chaplin the musical, the Chaplin movie in 1936. And then Nat King Cole came along, said, "This is beautiful. It needs lyrics. I'm going to do it because I'm a star."
Yeah.
Or he did it because he actually loves them. And in 1954, the song Smile was born. And I love this song. This song is so special to me. And the lyrics of this song really always speak to my heart.
Oh, I'm already getting goosebumps.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through the fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness. Hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use in crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. We're swaying in sync right now, Alyssa. But it's true. You listen to this and you realize why it was made as just an orchestration, right? That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use in crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
Oh, I love it. I love that little run you did at the end.
Thanks. I don't even know what I did.
I love it. It's so
But again, that just like the smile. It's so silly, but like what's interesting is that scientifically, if you are feeling absolutely depressed or miserable, people say like just smile and like force yourself into a smile, and your brain will like actually recognize the fact that the muscles in your face are working to smile. And so it will then say, oh, I'm physically smiling, then that means I need to release my serotonin.
Yeah.
And
did we talk about that last time? Like sometimes you just fake a smile until you feel like you're in a good mood. And
I think so.
My old teacher used to tell us that, and I used to think she was crazy because I was like a high school kid. But then you get older and you're like, I just need that little extra oomph, and then it just lifts your spirits.
Well, that's what's so interesting about this master's program I'm in. Like, fun fact, everybody, I'm getting a master's degree in this thing called arts and medicine, which is a main reason why I'm actually working with Sing for Hope. I'm here as part of my practicum. Yeah. So I've been doing these on Mondays, and I've been also facilitating a writing group that's part my work as a dramaturg, part the science that I'm actually learning within this master's degree. So if you guys want to see more of this face, come back Thursday at 2:30 and we'll write and have a great time.
Woo!
Shameless little self-plug in the middle of another show.
I wanted to ask you, have you ever read the book Your Brain on Music?
I think it's in my bookshelf right now. I like looked to see it. I have so many other books just like that, but yes, no, it's fascinating, and there's so many other books that I am so interested to read because your brain is so freaking cool, y'all. Yeah. It does so many crazy things, and so music is a really interesting thing because your body actually receives it in specific ways. And I did an entire research paper on this thing called psychoneuroimmunology, and there were studies done at a hospital in Florida that showed that people who were listening to music requested less painkillers and experienced less symptoms of pain. And it was also done in different living facilities and in post-op units where they wanted to have like some sort of a distraction, because your brain, it's super cool and great, and like this isn't an insult, your brain really can focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So if your brain is listening to music and is listening to stuff that it really enjoys, it actually kind of forgets to send out the cortisol signals and like these stress hormones and other like neurotransmitters that say, I am in pain, I want to leave, I am uncomfortable, I am stressed, I shouldn't be here.
That's incredible. It's incredible.
It's so interesting.
And my brother's actually a music teacher, and when his wife was pregnant, he played the guitar and sang every single day to his wife's belly. And I'm telling you, my nephew is like the smartest, like he's only 3 years old, but he's got the language and the maturity of like a 10-year-old. And my brother's like, I feel bad I don't have as much time now because I have another kid to play to the second kid that was like, she was pregnant with. He was like, but my first kid, I swear, the music affected him in the womb.
Like, it does. 100%. Because your right brain develops well before your left brain. So that's why you are moving and dancing
Oh,
before you're actually talking.
wow.
It's
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it's really fascinating. And there's a program with Carnegie Hall called the Lullaby Project that essentially works with mothers who are primarily from low income households and pairs them with professional musicians, and together they write lullabies for their babies and they record them.
Oh, that is so
So
cool.
that's, again, I love learning about all of this.
Interesting.
I know, and we totally just like went on a scientific like left turn, and I'm not even mad about it.
Oh, like we could talk
But
about science.
like following along with the fact that listening to music really helps you and like makes you feel better. I feel like during this time, and we think about the 50s, we think about all these people who are recovering from this post-war. So you had these people who all they wanted to do was feel happy and feel good after being so sad for so long. And
Mhm.
that's why a lot of these songs all elicit these happy, joyful emotions,
Amazing.
because it's what was asked and like what everybody also wanted to give and provide, and what artists really wanted to express. And
What we need
that's why
now.
these, I
We need
know,
it now more than ever.
absolutely.
Ugh.
And so this next song was originally written as just an orchestration by Milt Gabler, and then good old Nat King Cole in 1965 came and wrote some lyrics to it. And if you don't know how to spell love, you definitely will after this song. This is Love. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. And love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart, but please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. And love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart, but please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you.
Oh, I love that song. No pun intended. It's just so
Ha!
fun, and
I
it just
know.
makes me want to just dance around a ballroom in a nice dress. I don't
I
know.
know. And that's what people were doing.
Ah,
That's
yeah.
what they were doing during this time. And that's what's so interesting is
Mhm.
also like you think of the 60s, you think of the big fluffy dresses and the skirts. And
Yeah.
everybody was there doing all those crazy little dances because everybody knew how to dance back then too, because
Like
that's what you had.
The Lindy and the
Yes.
Bug and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And that's
Old
what's also
dance.
so interesting about like the things that have changed in this time is the fact that like if you're dating a guy and like he knows how to dance, now you're like, wait, what? Why?
Yeah.
Because like men don't dance like they used to, and this isn't to like insult any of the men watching.
My brothers will not dance unless they have a drink at a wedding. Like they are too shy. They're all three of them. My dad's a big dancer, but he's European. He's like Italian, so he loves to dance. But my brothers are like, no.
I mean, it's fine. I'm also just like I'm more of like a bopper and a mover. And so if I have somebody who can bop and move along with me, then it's great.
But you know what the best part is? When I do weddings, and it's always the older couples who are in their 80s and even 90s, and they're still together, they always do choreographed dances from their time, their prime of their life.
Exactly. There's a swing bar in Midtown New York. It's called Swing 46.
Ooh, fine.
I think it's Swing 46 or Swing 47. Clearly it's on either 46th Street or 47th Street. But that has the full band and they're all just playing these songs. And I go with some of my girlfriends and we can do like basic things. But you go. Be prepared to be like showed up by these 75-year-old couples who are here just like living their best lives.
That makes me so happy to see that. Like you see that they had that like magic back in the day and they just never forgot it. Like they can two-step and they know those steps like it was yesterday. And they still move so well and oh, it's just such a beautiful form of dance. It's like different than today where all we know how to do is like sway together on the dance floor. They have like actual choreography and it's so cute how they move in sync. I think it's
Absolutely. And a lot of these songs too, they just like they're made for dancing. And I feel like this next one, Orange Colored Sky, like your favorite, is like made to dance. Again, this is Nat King Cole. And of course, it's a cover. He didn't write it. It was originally written in 1950 by Milton Deluge and Willie Stein. So again, if you've learned anything from this little cabaret history lesson, it's no one wrote anything themselves. I mean, he wrote the lyrics. He wrote, well, not to this one. He wrote the lyrics to the other ones.
Yeah.
So that's something. That's something.
It's not easy to write lyrics. It's not.
No. I was walking along, minding my business, when out of an orange-colored sky, flash, bam, alakazam, wonderful you came by. I was humming a tune, drinking in sunshine, when out of that orange-colored view, flash, bam, alakazam, I gotta look at you. One look and I yelled, timber, watch out for flying glass. Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I started to shout, I've been hit. This is it, this is it. I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam, wonderful you came by. One look and I yelled, timber, watch out for flying glass. Cause the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out. I went into a spin and I started to shout, I've been hit. This is it, this is it. I was walking along, minding my business, when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam, out of an orange-colored, purple striped, pretty green polka dot sky. Flash, bam, alakazam, and goodbye, out of an orange-colored sky.
Woo! Oh, I love that one. It's so fun.
I know.
Oh,
It's it's so great. And I had never heard of the song actually until I started teaching
mm,
for this company that I teach for. I actually teach music and movement to kids
every
ages
day.
6 months to 4 years old.
So
And
cute.
so one of the teachers that I was teaching with one time wanted to sing this song. And I was like, I have never heard of this song before, but sure. And now it's like one of my favorite songs to sing.
I love
And
it.
I sing a lot of these other songs too in these classes because at the end of the day, these songs are so meaningful and they're so historic. And sure, it's like me trying to like save music, but I want to be able to like expose these kids to this music
Hmm.
because growing up I was very fortunate to have parents who would play their music for me. And I remember being little and like once a week we were allowed to look through this like big box of my mom's old 45s, and
Yeah.
we'd go through and we'd play them on the little record player, and we like my siblings and I each had our own favorite, and so
Yeah.
we'd listen to those and then we would listen to some other songs. And that's why these songs in this time period is almost like very familiar to me too. But so many of these songs are heard in movie scores and in different soundtracks.
Oh, that's a
And
whole other topic, like beautiful movie scores from like Gone with the Wind and
yeah,
old movies. Like that's another golden era of music because they don't even do like, I don't know, the soundtracks are just not the same with the big bands and the orchestrations. It's
yeah,
such a beautiful time in music.
I know. And what I find really interesting about like this era that we're currently in, if you study any sort of history ever, like it's cliche to say, but it's not. History repeats itself,
Hmm.
right? We see it every single day. And so I please don't think I'm equating this post-pandemic era to post-World War II because I am not. That is an incredibly different time.
Hmm.
However, the sentiment that Americans are feeling today is very similar to
Yes.
post-World War II. We're coming out of this pandemic, and maybe we're about to go into it a little bit more because of Delta, but at the same time, we're also still making incredible strides with vaccination. We're getting back out there and we're getting jobs again and we're going out dancing and having crazy nights out on the town.
Yeah.
And that's what these people were also doing. And that's what these songs in this era of music was also celebrating. So thank you so much for coming on and listening. I hope you walked away with a fact or two.
This was
Um, uh,
so fun, as always. And please tell everyone where they can find you on Thursday again with your beautiful writing class.
right here, Sing for Hope. It's not going to be streamed on YouTube because it's actually like a really interactive activity that we get to do. But if you log on to Sing for Hope and you go through, you can log on and we're all in a Zoom together.
Mhm.
And I just encourage us all to kind of write together and really pull from our own lived experiences to sort of remember how cool and awesome each of us is,
Absolutely.
and to also offer you a space to have your stories be heard because I love listening and I love being a storyteller.
Yeah, and you're
So,
really great at it. And also, when we're on the Zoom, we can chat in the little chat box as opposed to
mhm,
YouTube where you can't really engage on, the chat box. And it's nice. You can share your thoughts. You can, ask questions. So it's a lot more interactive on the Zoom. So
yeah.
please show up 2:30 on Thursday. It's so much fun. I took the writing class. I love it so much. And it's always a pleasure to see you, Alex. Alex Muscaro,
Thank
everybody.
you.
And
Thank you so much.
I hope everybody has an incredible Monday. And there's another show at 4 p.m. here. So log
All
back in and we'll see you all soon. Thank you so much. Bye,
right,
everybody.
bye.